They say stats are for mugs. Well, put me on a mug, guys, because this video is going to involve lots of stats. And I bloody love a stat, but one that means something, or at least one that I use to spin something to mean something to suit my agenda. This is a video where we're going to have a look at one stat that defines every Premier League club's season. I think you're really going to enjoy this, and we'll have a bit of a quiz here. Obviously, you guys support different teams. I know some of you support teams outside the Premier League. I see you. But for those of you who are fans of teams within the Premier League, pause this video for a second and see if you can guess the general region of the stat that will be applied to define your club's season. Just a little bit of fun before we get involved. And with that said, let's crack on. Brighton and Hove Albion. Here's their stat that defines their season. 21.5 progressive carries per 90. This stat shows how De Zerbi has really put his stamp on the side. Brighton are joint second with Arsenal in this metric, with only Man City bettering them. This stat shows how De Zerbi's emphasis on transitioning the ball through the thirds, using their wingers, and the importance of March and Matoma in their system this season. Less fluent, Chelsea. Chelsea have 25 open play goals this season, and with only 25 open play goals scored throughout, it means that Chelsea are 14th in the table in this stat, below the likes of Bournemouth, 28, Leeds, 32, and Leicester, 36. This shows one of the many problems at Chelsea this season. There are obvious problems away from the pitch, but the lack of goals from open play is such a worry, and it is the number one reason why they have been so poor this season and are as low as they are in the table. Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins' 15 goal involvement since the World Cup is the stat we've got to talk about. Now, I know this is a team-based video, but there are a couple of individuals that have to be given their moment because they have defined their club's season. And I think that this stat is representative of the Villa squad as a whole and how their upturn, led by Ollie Watkins' form, has seen the whole squad look unrecognisable to that team that Gerrard was putting out there at the start of the season. It also demonstrates that Unai Emery still gets the best out of his strikers and is an underrated manager in that regard, because Watkins was struggling prior to his arrival. West Ham, 7 goals conceded from set pieces this season. Only Man City, 6, and Liverpool, 6, have conceded fewer set piece goals than West Ham this season. This shows that despite West Ham's early season struggles, when it comes to attack and creating chances, one thing that never lets them down was how rigid they were at set pieces. Not conceding many cheap goals from these scenarios will probably be the difference between them and clubs like Leicester and Leeds. Speaking of stats, here's some crucial numbers for you. 3,200, okay? 3 and over 100 all will be revealed. But what I can reveal is a personal stat, which is that 100% of the time I bloody love Surfshark. Now, what is Surfshark? Surfshark is a VPN. It's a virtual private network that keeps your online data safe by encrypting all of the data between the device that you're using and the internet, and keeps those pesky cyber criminals at bay. Now, with a Surfshark VPN, you can change your real location. This is the thing that's great about it, okay? You can change your location to any location around the world in 3,200 servers across over 100 countries. Yeah, that was the stat that I was talking about. Now, this means that you can access new content by exploring the Netflix libraries or any streaming site of Japan, USA, Australia. As I said, over 100 countries. Pick one. Pick a country. Also, if you're on holiday and you often can't watch your favourite sporting event because you need to be in the UK, you can do if you've got Surfshark, because you can change your IP address back to the UK and you can enjoy yourself the playoffs. You can enjoy, the Champions League that's on its way with the right commentary that works for you. I know we can all get annoyed by commentators sometimes. I know I can. Now, masking your IP address is essential in becoming private online. A VPN ensures your city, country, and download history isn't linked to your identity, and Surfshark's clean web feature blocks ads, phishing attempts, tracking, and crucially, malware, allowing you to surf the web safely. And the final thing that sets Surfshark apart and provides even more value is that you can use Surfshark's VPN on unlimited devices. Bloody love that bit. So if you currently don't have a VPN, it just makes sense to have one to watch what you want wherever you are and actually watch more. Take a look at the link in the description. That will take you to the Surfshark website, where you can get yourself 3 months for free by using my code Allcott, ALLCOTT. If you don't know that, then shame on you. Now, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. So why not give Surfshark a go? Thank you, Surfshark, for sponsoring us again. And thank you for providing us with safe internet. Liverpool, a more recent stat for Liverpool. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 7 goal contributions in the last 8 games. Now, again, this is an individual stat. I hear that. And that is somewhat representative of Liverpool's season, because up until recently, Liverpool's season was a bit indifferent. Probably a bit more than indifferent. It was really indifferent. It was bad. But at the time of recording, they've gone on to win 7 matches in a row, which coincides with Trent's switch to an inverted role. Trent's upturn in form aligns perfectly with Liverpool's and could make it a good season after all the previous struggles. Fulham, 0.34 goals per shot on target. Now, Fulham are actually 4th in the league for this metric, and I think what it shows is how well Fulham have taken to the Premier League this year, and they have dispelled the myth that they don't have Premier League qualities. The only teams above them in this metric are Spurs, Man City, I know, Spurs, I didn't say that, and Arsenal. So this stat also shows that Fulham can punish anyone this season, and have done so regularly. Manchester United, we're going individual again, sorry, but we have to. Bruno Fernandes. 31 big chances created. This is a big one for Man United. Bruno Fernandes has created 31 big chances for Man United this season. The next highest is Luke Shaw with 7. This shows how important he's been for Man United and how reliant they are on him to be a creator. It also shows that Man United may need to strengthen in the summer, because if he gets injured, they have a big, big problem. Crystal Palace, 15 goals scored under Roy Hodgson. Go on, Roy. Roy has been in charge for 8 matches at the time of recording, and his side has scored 15 goals in that period. Prior to this, they had only scored 22 goals in their previous 28 matches. An incredible turnaround. And the reason that this stat defines their season is that it shows that the talent in the team wasn't being utilised correctly under Vieira, and it was the right decision to let him go. And whilst also showing that this squad has much more that it's capable of than he was able to get out of them, it seems. And lastly, just how good Eberici Eze is. Yeah, that's right, I'm bringing him into every video about Crystal Palace because I bloody love the guy. He scored 6 goals since Roy took over. That's good, okay? Prior to that, he'd only scored 4 all season long. Long may you reign, Roy, because Eze's making it look Eze. Easy. Leicester City, 64 goals conceded versus a XG against of 57.8. Now, Leicester's poor defence could well be what sends them down as well this season, but I think it goes deeper than that. If we look at the XG against versus goals conceded, it shows that Leicester have roughly conceded 6 more goals than they should have. This shows that Leicester have not only been bad in the defence department, but have also been woeful in the goalkeeping department, which is part of the defence, but you get what I'm saying. They didn't replace Schmeichel, and Schmeichel wasn't that great the season before, but they should have replaced him with a bit of quality there. Bournemouth, 33 goal involvements from players over 6 foot tall. Yeah. Bournemouth have scored 37 goals this season, and 33 of them have been from players over 6 feet tall. This means that an astonishing 89% of their goals have been huge. I mean, every goal's huge, but these are bigger because they're over 6 foot. God, I wish I was over 6 foot. Fortunately, I'm sat down most of the time, so you guys don't realise. Yeah, not that I'm ashamed of being short. I think I'm waffling. What it demonstrates is that their strength this season has been about that size and how they've used that size and, importantly, I think, athleticism to their advantage, along with some clever tactical tweaks from our boy O'Neill. Well done, Bournemouth. No one thought you were staying up, did they? But you are. Southampton, 9 goals scored between 4 forwards. The only Southampton forwards to score for the club this season are Shea Adams, 5, Theo Walcott, 2, Sekou Mara with 1, and Adam Armstrong with 1. Yes, I know, Onuachu was not coming at you. And this defines their season because it highlights how there's been just a lack of quality up front for Southampton this season and why that has ultimately led to them going down. Leeds United, 23 goals conceded in the month of April. Yes, that is a Premier League record. In April, Leeds broke their own record for the most goals conceded in a calendar month. There's 2 parts to this stat. Firstly, the amount of goals, but also what stage of the season this has happened. The goals conceded show how much of a shambles Leeds have been defensively recently. And whilst the fact that it happened in April shows that Leeds have left it far too late to fix their issues and now have had to press the big Sam button. And he only has 4 games, 2 left now, to save their season. Manchester City, 92 goals scored versus an XG of 74.1 created. Now, there are loads of stats that you could wax lyrical about Man City's season, and you can read them all on most of stat websites. But we're going to tell you why this stat is the most season-defining for Man City. Now, the reason this stat stands out is because it shows how excellent Man City have been as a team in chance creation, but also how much of a killer instinct Haaland in particular has had this season. Wolves, 18 open play goals scored. It's no secret that Wolves have struggled for goals this season, and the stats don't lie either. 18 goals scored from open play is the joint lowest of any Premier League club, and the biggest thing that needs addressing next season at Wolves. Everton, top scorer for them, simple stat, Dwight McNeil, 7 goals. Now, the reason this stat is important is that it shows how Everton have played most of the season without a striker and how that has led to them being in the position that they are right now. I tweeted the other day and some people got confused with it, but I said that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is one of the most important players in the Premier League, and I completely stand by that because without him, they struggle to get up the pitch. Maupay has been woeful in comparison, and also just a completely different style of striker as well. So not having Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it just makes life so much harder. And so then, of course, the reliance when it comes to goals comes to those other sort of wide forwards, midfield players, and Dwight McNeil has stepped up. And that's the second part of this stat, which I think is important, because Dwight McNeil, his emergence as a goal scorer may also be what saves Everton and defines their season in these last couple of games. Newcastle United, 351 shots conceded this season is the big one for Newcastle. Now, 351 shots conceded sounds like a lot to start, but it's actually the 5th fewest in the league and goes a long way in showing why Newcastle are in the position that they are this season. Their system is based on a defensive solidity, and the stats reflect it. The strong defensive base set up by Eddie Howe is a serious means of getting results for this team. Arsenal, 51 goal involvements from players aged 22 or under. This stat just demonstrates the youthful exuberance of Arsenal and how good their young players truly are this season. I know it's a disappointing end to it all, and I've done a couple of videos talking about asking the question if we can take Arsenal seriously next season. But the reason we're probably concerned about it is because of how good this young group has done. And you would imagine, with terms of development, they're only going to get better, you would have thought, and their young players have been truly phenomenal. 44 of these goal involvements have come from just Martinelli and Saka too, which I think shows how important they are and how they're operating at a consistent level, not really synonymous with their age. This stat shows their importance to the season, but also is a greater example of Arsenal's handling of younger players. Nottingham Forest, 33 players used. Yes, you roll your eyes, Forest fans, I hear that. But we cannot get away from it, and it does define your season, regardless if you stay up or go down. Forest, as many would have guessed, ranks highest in the Premier League for most players used. Again, this doesn't come as a shock, but does ultimately define their season, I'm afraid. Brentford, 54.2 XG created. Now, Brentford have created 54.2 XG this season, which is the 7th most of any team in the Premier League. This encapsulates not only their season, but also their whole tactical mantra. Being effective is at the forefront of everything that they do. And the fact that they're in the top 7 for XG, despite not dominating matches generally, just shows how effective their approach is. They seem to know something that we don't. I don't know what it is. Tottenham. Harry Kane has been involved in 46% of Spurs' goals this season. That's outrageous. This stat not only shows Kane's brilliance, but also shows how bad Spurs have been. I did a video talking about my team of the season. Spoiler alert, Kane should have been in it, and he wasn't. If you want to see my reaction to that, go and check out that video. But as I said, it shows the brilliance of Kane, but also shows how bad Spurs have been this season, but also how reliant on Kane they have become. It shows how there is an overall lack of quality in the team, but also a lack of dynamism, a lack of understanding, attacking verve, and all of that put together has led to the other forwards in this Tottenham squad being unable to contribute, it seems. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. Hit the like button as well, and I'll see you in the next one. Want to win this? Signed Liverpool shirt. Woo! From a Wolves perspective. Ooh! Ooh! We're in 13th, so don't worry about it. Ooh! Southampton obviously got relegated. We'll talk about the meltdown of Arsenal, and we're going to talk about how Big Sam may just have blown the top 4 race wide open.